Well, if you think Donald Trump is stupid, and you have every right to, imagine what his lawyers think of him. New York's Attorney General releases a letter that shows that Mazars, the accounting firm, has dropped Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's insane ego demands that Donald Trump release a statement fighting back against that Mazars letter. And when he does that, when Donald Trump does that, he contradicts everything that his lawyers have been telling the judge in that case. And then tonight, in the breaking news of the night, the Attorney General of the state of New York uses Donald Trump's exact, profoundly stupid words in his statement against him. That's where that case is tonight. Mazars has flipped. Mazars has flipped and is working with New York prosecutors in their investigations of Donald Trump. That is the judgment of our first guest tonight, Attorney Philip Rotner, who has studied the letter the Mazars accounting firm sent to Donald Trump's company, dropping Donald Trump and the company as clients last week. Philip Rotner writes, quote, "This is a big deal. It means that Mazars has flipped and is now protecting itself, not Trump, or, as Trump put it in his statement last night, that Mazars didn't feel it could fight it out. That is undoubtedly the non-waivable conflict of interest with the Trump organization referred to in Mazars' February 9th letter." New York's Attorney General Letitia James revealed the letter in a court filing this week to support her argument that Donald Trump and his children should be forced to comply with her subpoenas for their under oath testimony about the Trump businesses. And in the breaking news of this hour, Attorney General Letitia James has now responded to Donald Trump's statement about her release of that February 9th letter from Donald Trump's now former accountants. In a filing with the judge in the case tonight, the Attorney General says it is truly rare for a party to publicly disagree with statements submitted by his own attorneys in a signed pleading, let alone one day after the pleading was filed. The Attorney General refers to the fact that Donald Trump's lawyers insisted in writing to the court that Donald Trump should not be compelled to testify about his businesses because he does not know enough about his businesses. Tonight, the Attorney General told the judge, quote, "He professes intimate knowledge of his company, its assets, and their values." And in the statement made yesterday, quotes Donald Trump in the statement made yesterday where he attacked Hillary Clinton and the Attorney General. Today, the Attorney General points out that Donald Trump's written rant responding to the Mazars letter begins with Donald Trump's own description of the valuation of his assets, which is exactly what the Attorney General is investigating. In his written statement, Donald Trump boasts, "My company has among the best real estate and other assets anywhere in the world, has significant amounts of cash, has relatively little debt," which is totally current. He then listed specific figures for cash and marketable securities, escrow, reserve deposits, and prepaid expenses, total assets, net worth, total liabilities, and net worth. He went on to say that the numbers don't tell the whole story because, quote, "Based on current enthusiasm and transactions which have or will take place, the brand value today could be, in my opinion, substantially higher." So once again, Donald Trump holds himself out as the highest, most definitive authority on the valuation of his businesses. And he does that in his boastful written statement, which is a direct and complete total contradiction to what his lawyers have told the judge in this case, the reason his lawyers have given for why he should not have to testify. The Attorney General clearly believes Donald Trump's written statement solidifies her right to compel his under oath testimony about the valuation of his businesses. In her filing with the judge tonight, Attorney General James says, quote, "Mr. Trump claims to know exactly what the Office of the Attorney General is investigating." Once again, we see there is no one who testifies against Donald Trump more effectively than Donald Trump. The New York Times has reported that Mazars has been cooperating with the criminal investigation of Donald Trump by the Manhattan District Attorney, and that Trump's principal accountant at Mazars, has testified to the grand jury in that investigation. The Mazars letter to Trump specified that Mazars decided last week to refuse to continue working on Trump tax returns that were due this week, saying, quote, there are only a limited number of tax returns that still remain to be filed, including those of Donald J. Trump and Melania Trump. The Mazars letter pointed out that the due date for those returns was yesterday, February 15th, and added this one specific item about the returns. We believe the only information left to complete those returns is the information regarding the Matt Calamari Jr. apartment. As you know, Donald Bender has been asking for this information for several months, but has not received it. Once that information is provided to your new tax preparers, the returns can be complete. Now, remember that the Trump company and the company's chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, have already been indicted for tax fraud in Manhattan for not declaring compensation that included a rent-free apartment, car payments, and school tuition for children. The Mazars letter indicates that Mazars was unwilling to file tax returns that did not properly deal with, quote, the Matt Calamari Jr. apartment, especially at a time when the Trump organization is already under indictment for using rent-free apartments as undeclared income for people working for Trump. Donald Trump issued a completely incoherent written rant yesterday in reaction to Mazars dropping him as a client. And in it, he said that Hillary Clinton should be executed for spying. And he seemed to confess to the fraud charges that the company is already facing by writing this. The charge against a 74-year-old long-term wonderful employee, Alan Weisselberg, is that he did not pay taxes on a company car or a company apartment. Do others pay such a tax? Did former Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance pay a tax on his car? And a charge having to do with my paying for the education of his grandchildren. Murderers all over the city, and they are worried about me helping with young children's education. So Donald Trump appears to be admitting that no taxes were paid on the compensation to Alan Weisselberg that included a free car, a free apartment, and free tuition for his grandchildren, a compensation package that was close to $2 million. Donald Trump does not say that all relevant tax laws were complied with. He simply seems to be saying, why are they enforcing tax laws against us? The breaking news from New York's Attorney General tonight comes on top of the news earlier in the day that President Biden has once again crushed Donald Trump's claims of executive privilege to try to block the release of White House visitor logs, including the White House visitor log of January 6th, the most important day in the Trump presidency, the day a Trump mob attacked the Capitol. To claim that White House visitor logs are classified, as Donald Trump has been trying to, is virtually impossible, since the Obama White House and now the Biden White House have both routinely made public their own White House visitor logs. The Biden White House counsel, Dana Remus, in a letter telling the National Archives to release the Trump White House visitor logs to the January 6th committee, said, quote, as a matter of policy and subject to limited exceptions, the Biden administration voluntarily discloses such visitor logs on a monthly basis. The Obama administration followed the same practice. The majority of entries over which the former president has asserted executive privilege would be publicly released under current policy. Accordingly, President Biden does not uphold the former president's assertions of privilege. He therefore instructs you to provide to the Select Committee the records and portions of records identified as privileged by the former president.